Welcome to Zoe Stories. My stepmom hated me, so she transformed me into her daughter. My name is Alex, and I'm 17 years old. Up until a few months ago, I thought my life was pretty normal, well, as normal as it could be for a kid whose dad remarried a woman who clearly despised me. My stepmom, Evelyn, was always cold, her sharp words cutting through any attempt I made to connect with her. She wasn't outright cruel, but her disdain was palpable, like a shadow that followed me everywhere. I tried to brush it off, telling myself it didn't matter. But deep down, it hurt. I just wanted her to see me, to accept me, even if I wasn't her own. Everything changed the night she came into my room with that strange, almost predatory look in her eyes. She held something in her hand, a small, ornate box with intricate carvings that seemed to shimmer under the dim light. My stomach churned as she sat on the edge of my bed, her voice low and deliberate. "Alex," she said, "I've been thinking. You've always wanted to be part of this family, haven't you?
To truly belong."
I nodded hesitantly, my heart pounding. What was she getting at? Her lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes.
Good.
Because I've found a way to make that happen. But it's going to require a change. A big one. I didn't understand what she meant at first, but the way she said it sent a chill down my spine. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. And yet, a part of me was curious. What did she mean by belonging? What kind of change was she talking about? Little did I know, her words would mark the beginning of a nightmare I could never have imagined. After Evelyn left my room that night, I couldn't sleep. Her words echoed in my mind, twisting and turning like a puzzle I couldn't solve. What did she mean by a change? Was this some kind of twisted test? Or was she finally showing her true colors, revealing the malice I'd always suspected was there? The next morning, I avoided her at breakfast, keeping my eyes glued to my plate as my dad chatted about work. Evelyn didn't seem to mind. She just sipped her coffee, her gaze occasionally flicking toward me with an unsettling intensity. I felt like a mouse being watched by a cat, waiting for the pounce. Later that day, I found the box on my desk. It was open now, revealing a small vial filled with a shimmering, iridescent liquid. A note lay beside it, written in Evelyn's elegant handwriting. "Drink this tonight if you're ready to become who you were always meant to be." My hands trembled as I picked up the vial. The liquid inside seemed to pulse faintly, as if it were alive. My mind raced. Was this some kind of poison? A drug? Or something else? I thought about throwing it away, but curiosity gnawed at me. What if this was my chance to finally earn her approval? What if this was the key to making her love me? But then another thought crept in. What if this was a trap? What if she was trying to hurt me, to get rid of me once and for all? My chest tightened as I weighed the possibilities. The stakes felt impossibly high. If I drank it, I could lose everything, my identity, my freedom, maybe even my life. But if I didn't, I might never know what it felt like to truly belong. I stared at the vial for what felt like hours, my reflection distorted in its glass surface. Who was I, really? And who did I want to become? The questions swirled in my mind, but no answers came. All I knew was that I had to make a choice, and soon. I didn't drink the vial that night. Instead, I hid it under my mattress, my mind a whirlwind of fear and doubt. Over the next few days, Evelyn's behavior became even more unsettling. She started leaving little gifts in my room, a hairbrush, a dress, a pair of earrings, each one accompanied by a note that said things like, "You'll need this soon," or "This will suit you perfectly." It was as if she already knew what I would choose, as if my decision had been made for me. I tried to confide in my dad, but he was oblivious as always. "Evelyn's just trying to bond with you," he said, patting my shoulder. "Give her a chance, Alex. She cares about you." I wanted to scream, to tell him how wrong he was, but I couldn't. He loved her, and I didn't want to be the one to shatter that illusion. Desperate for advice, I turned to my best friend, Mia. We sat in her car after school, the vial hidden in my backpack as I poured out the whole story. Mia's eyes widened as I showed her the shimmering liquid. "This is insane," she said, shaking her head. "You can't seriously be considering this, Alex. What if it's dangerous?" What if it's some kind of, I don't know, magic potion or something? Magic potion? I laughed, but it came out hollow. That's ridiculous. Is it? Mia raised an eyebrow. You said yourself your stepmom's been acting weird. And that stuff, she pointed at the vial, does not look normal. You need to get rid of it. Now. But I couldn't. Every time I thought about throwing it away, something stopped me. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe it was the tiny, desperate part of me that still wanted Evelyn's approval. Whatever it was, it kept me from letting go. The tension came to a head one evening when Evelyn cornered me in the kitchen. You haven't drunk it yet, she said, her voice calm but laced with menace. Why not? I froze, my heart pounding. I don't know if I can. Her eyes narrowed, and for a moment, I thought she might lash out. But then she smiled, cold and calculating. You will, she said, because if you don't, you'll never truly be part of this family. And we both know how much you want that, don't we? Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. She was right, I did want to belong. But at what cost? That night, as I lay in bed staring at the vial, I realized I was out of time. I had to make a decision, and there was no going back. The vial felt heavy in my hand, its contents glowing faintly in the dark. My heart raced as I unscrewed the cap, the scent of something sweet and floral wafting up to meet me. I hesitated, my mind screaming at me to stop, to think this through. But another voice, quieter but insistent, whispered that this was my chance, my only chance, to finally be accepted. I thought about my dad, about how much he loved Evelyn, and how much I wanted to make him proud. I thought about Mia, about how she tried to warn me, and how I might lose her if I went through with this. But most of all, I thought about Evelyn, about the way she looked at me, like I was something less than human. Like I was a problem she needed to fix. Tears streamed down my face as I raised the vial to my lips. I just want to belong, I whispered to myself. And then, before I could change my mind, I drank it. The liquid was warm, almost alive, as it slid down my throat. For a moment, nothing happened. And then the world began to spin, my vision blurring as a searing pain shot through my body. I collapsed onto the floor, my screams echoing in the empty room as everything went black. When I woke up, everything felt different. My body was lighter, my senses heightened. I could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator downstairs, smell the lavender-scented detergent on my sheets. But it wasn't until I looked in the mirror that I realized the full extent of what had happened. The person staring back at me wasn't me, not the me I knew anyway. My short, messy hair had been replaced by long, silky locks that cascaded down my back. My angular jawline was gone, replaced by soft, delicate features. My broad shoulders had narrowed, my frame now petite and feminine. Even my clothes hung differently, clinging to curves I didn't recognize as my own. I stumbled back, my heart racing. What did you do to me? I whispered, my voice higher, softer than before. Evelyn appeared in the doorway, a satisfied smile on her face. I told you, she said, you were always meant to be my daughter. And now you are. I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. No, this isn't me. This isn't who I am. It is now, she said, her tone final. You wanted to belong, Alex. And now you do. You're perfect. But I didn't feel perfect. I felt like a stranger in my own body, like my identity had been ripped away from me. I tried to fight back, to demand that she change me back, but she just laughed. This is who you are now, she said. You'll learn to love it. Everyone else will. And with that, she left me alone, staring at the reflection of a girl I didn't know. My hands trembled as I touched my face, my hair, my body. This wasn't me. This couldn't be me. But as the days passed, I began to realize that Evelyn was right. No one else seemed to notice the change. To them, I had always been this way. Even my dad called me by a new name, one I didn't recognize but somehow answered to instinctively. I was trapped, my old self erased, my new identity forced upon me. And as I struggled to come to terms with my new reality, I couldn't help but wonder, was this what I had really wanted? Or had I been tricked into becoming someone I was never meant to be? The breaking point came a week later, when Mia came over to study. She didn't recognize me at first, her eyes widening in shock as she took in my new appearance. "Alex," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Is that you?" I nodded, tears welling up in my eyes. "It's me," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "But it's not. I don't know who I am anymore." Mia reached out, her hand hesitating before she pulled me into a tight hug. "We'll figure this out," she said. "We'll find a way to fix this." But as we sat there, trying to come up with a plan, Evelyn walked in. Her eyes narrowed as she saw Mia, and her lips curled into a cold smile. "I see you've met my daughter," she said, her tone dripping with malice. "Isn't she beautiful?" Mia stood, her fists clenched. "What did you do to her?" she demanded. "You're a monster." Evelyn's smile didn't waver. "I gave her what she wanted," she said. "A family. A place to belong. Isn't that right, Alex?" I opened my mouth to protest, to tell her she was wrong, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I found myself nodding, my body betraying me as I whispered, "Yes." Mia's eyes filled with tears as she looked at me, her expression a mix of heartbreak and disbelief. "Alex, no." But it was too late. Evelyn had won. I was her daughter now, in every way that mattered. And as I watched Mia walk away, I realized I had lost more than just my identity. I had lost myself. It's been months since that night, and I'm still trying to come to terms with who I am, or who I've become. Evelyn treats me like her own now, doting on me in a way she never did before. But it doesn't feel real. It feels like a performance, like I'm playing a role I never auditioned for. I miss my old self, the person I used to be. But that person is gone, erased by a choice I made in a moment of desperation. I tell myself it was worth it, that I finally belong. But deep down, I know the truth. I sacrificed who I was for the sake of acceptance, and in doing so, I lost everything that made me me. Sometimes, I catch a glimpse of my reflection and wonder if there's a way to undo what's been done. But then Evelyn's voice echoes in my mind, reminding me that this is who I am now. And as much as I hate to admit it, she's right. I am her daughter. And I always will be. Thank you for joining us on another captivating journey through Zoe's stories. Remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale. Until next time, keep exploring, keep imagining, and keep believing in the magic of storytelling. See you in the next chapter.